everybody, it's Uncle Mike, and I'm back again, and we're going to do a dessert today. It's late October, it's like 5 in the evening, and it's still 85 degrees out here, so there's some things I don't like about California, but one thing I really like is the weather. Making this dessert for tomorrow, we're going to have family over, and I believe Patty suggested that we'll probably be able to eat outside, so won't that be nice? Almost November, eating outside for a picnic. Well, the dessert I'm going to make, I made a couple weeks ago because this thing is complicated. And the dessert is called Ekmek Kataifi. It's basically a custard pie. But I made it a couple weeks ago because there's like 4 parts of this thing that you're doing, and I didn't want to bumble around on film. You're making the base, which is Kataifi dough, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. You make the base, you make a syrup that goes over the base, then you make a custard, and then you make a heavy whipping cream that goes on top. It's all made from scratch, so it's like 4 different things that you're juggling. This dessert I found online, and they say it's a Greek dessert, but on the site that I found it, if you look at the words, Ekmek Kataifi, Ekmek for sure is Turkish. Where I found it online, they had comments, and there was like fights between the people commenting as to whether this was really Greek dessert. So in the on the website, the comments were quite heated between people who thought it was Turkish and people who thought it was Greek, and cultural appropriation, and still some hard feelings left over from the Ottoman Empire because they had Greece in their empire till 1800s or so, till Greece became its own country. So that was pretty interesting. You can learn a lot about history and stuff just by food. Now, to get the Kataifi dough, it's basically a Phyllo dough, but it's shredded. It almost looks like shredded wheat. This is the box. I had to order this through Walmart.com, and this was expensive, so I'm not going to be making much out of this. But they do have Phyllo dough at all the supermarkets, but it's the pastry sheets. It's not shredded up like this. So when you take it out, it looks something like this. And what you're supposed to do with it is you defrost it in the refrigerator the night before. You take a dish about this size, you butter the dish, you take 7 ounces of this stuff, and you lay it in here as a base. And see, I'm pulling this out, I'm stretching it all around.
Looks like hay.
It does. Then after you stretch it all out, you're going to pour butter over it, and 50 grams of butter, which is 2 ounces melted butter. I'm going to put the link to this recipe up on the YouTube video. And the weird thing about this recipe, what makes it hard, is they give you everything in grams. A lot of the stuff comes in grams, and then they some of the stuff they transfer over to ounces for you, but that doesn't really help you. Like sugar, 7 ounces of sugar, how much is that? So I had to go to another sheet on the website, on the web, that I'll put the link up for, and that converted all different sorts of materials like sugar, cornstarch, and it would convert from grams or ounces into cups. So I believe 7 ounces of sugar is 1 cup. So that's what I had to use in order to interpret this.
Well, 8 ounces is 1 cup.
Well, is 7 ounces like weight, or is it... You might be right. I might be wrong. But at any rate, it took a lot of finagling to get this right. But when I made it a couple weeks ago, it came out tasting really good. So I'm satisfied with it. The butter, it says 2 ounces. When you take out butter, they do have the ounces listed on the stick of butter. So that was a little bit easier. So here's the butter. Here's the butter.
Is this where you put the honey in it and make the syrup?
No, the syrup's afterwards. You just pour this butter on top, and I'm going to read this. Preheat the oven to 170 centigrade. So I had to convert that. That's 338 Fahrenheit. 25 centimeter square non-sticking baking dish. I had to multiply 25 by 25, find how many square centimeters that was, and then convert that to square inches. It's, I think, about 85 square inches. I think this will work right here. I think this is what I made it in before also. And so then I'm going to put the butter over it, and then we're going to cook it. And it says to cook it for 30 to 45 minutes until it's nice and crispy. Last time when I did this, I think I probably cooked it for about an hour. Started checking it at 30 to 40 minutes and then ended up cooking it for an hour. So I'm going to put that in the oven, and then we're going to make the custard while we're letting that dough cook. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to do steps 2, 3, and 4. They're very complicated. It's making the custard. You're pouring things into bowls, you're pouring them out, you're using half the ingredients. Very complicated. I'm probably going to have to read while I do this. One of the ingredients is 4 to 5 egg yolks, so I got those ready. Pour that in a large bowl, it says. Try and get all of it out. There we go. Okay. Half the sugar, and the sugar was, well, there, it's all in here. So the sugar for this was 150 grams, which is 3/4 of a cup. So I got 3/4 cup here. I'm gonna try to add about half. It might be a little more than that. No, that's about half. Okay. Half the sugar, whisk until fluffy. I had my whisker out here, okay. And then I'm going to add some milk. This whole thing, the whole custard takes 3 cups of milk. I've got that in this thing right here. But you add this step right here. You add like 3 or 4 tablespoons. So I'm going to grab my tablespoon. Got the sugar mixed in with the yolk right there. I whisked it. How's that? Whisked it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those weren't full teaspoons. There we go. Okay. With half the sugar, whisk until fluffy. Add 3 or 4 tablespoons of milk and the cornstarch. And the cornstarch, I think, was 75 grams. That's right here. So we're going to add that, add the whole thing. We're going to whisk again.
You don't use a mixer for this?
No, it says whisk, so I didn't use one before. I'm looking forward to our dinner tomorrow, especially if we get to eat outside. It's been a long time since we had people over. Sure. In fact, I don't know if you're going to show it or not. House probably isn't quite good enough for you, but we've been putting up our Christmas decorations. We bought a monster tree, and we bought it last year at California Backyard. After Christmas, we got a really good deal on it, and we put that up this year. It was a heck of a project putting it up, but looks beautiful. It's 10 foot tall, I think. Is it 10 foot or 9 foot?
10.
Patty helped me every step of the way. We were a team, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that's the end of step 2. Okay, the cornstarch is dissolved, set aside. Pour the rest of the milk into a large non-sticking pan and add sugar and vanilla extract. Place the pan over high heat and bring to a boil. Okay, so I'm going to put the milk in here. That's the rest of the milk. Here's the vanilla. Let me see how much vanilla we're supposed to use. Half a teaspoon. teaspoon. Put it back. All right, step 3. Pour the milk in and place the pan over high heat. Oh, add the sugar. I almost skipped that. Add the rest of the sugar. Pour the rest of the milk in a large pan, add the sugar and the vanilla extract. Okay, here we go. There's the sugar. That's all the sugar. We're going to put it on a heat. Going to clean as we go. Keep things moving. Looking good. You want to swing around and show them the tree?
Okay, we could do that.
Like a department store.
Let's go in here so we can see the whole thing. I don't think I can get the whole thing in the video.
What's that?
I can't even get the whole thing in the video. It's too big. I can't get it all in the video.
All right. Back to me.
Okay.
So we're going to let this heat up till it comes to a boil. And then you take a third of it and put it back in with the egg mixture. And then you put it all back in the pan. Like I said, this is very complicated.
Okay, so you have to really keep that stirring
Yes.
because you don't want that milk
I
to
don't want that
burn.
milk to burn. Place the pan over high heat, bring to a boil. As soon as it comes to a boil, remove from the heat and ladle 1/3 of the milk into the egg mixture whilst whisking. Place the pan with the remaining milk again on the stove and turn the heat down to medium. Add the egg mixture back into the pan with the warm milk. I don't get it. That's what I did last time now.
You might even want to turn that down a little bit because that's really high.
I said turn on high heat.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, the thing I learned last time, and I'm glad I did this, I wasn't being filmed. When I took the milk out, put it into the egg mixture, and then poured the egg mixture back in and let it warm up, it like really,
Curdled the eggs.
well, no, it really boiled up and boiled all over to the stove. Remember that? I had a smaller, much smaller pan. So I went to this deeper pan right here, and I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, I'm starting to...
Did you turn it down a little
Yeah, I
bit?
turned it down, yes. Yes, dear. As always, Patty is giving me good advice because I'm not a natural at this cooking. I just enjoy it. I took this into where I worked last time I made it. People seemed to like it. Although nobody, they didn't go wild over it.
Well, I mean, I think it was good, but it's not, it's
It's not
different than,
American taste,
yeah, it's
yeah.
not an American food, so
Right.
it's not what we're used to.
Yes. I want to keep this thing whisky. We're getting close to having it boiled.
Chloe's very interested in what you're cooking.
Really?
Yeah, she's right behind you.
Okay. As soon as the milk comes to a boil, I'm going to ladle 1/3 of it. I'm going to take it off the heat and ladle 1/3 of it back into that. Turn up the heat just a little bit. 2 clicks. Do you think we ought to stop? Let it boil or keep going? The film.
Yeah, maybe we can come back.
Okay, it started to boil, so I took it off the stove. We didn't burn any, and I'm ladling about 1/3 of it back into the egg mixture, and then we're going to whisk the egg mixture, and then for some reason pour it back in there. I'm not sure what the. This is where I wish I knew more about cooking. to understand why I'm doing it this way. Do you have any ideas, honey? Why we're mixing it up and then putting it back in instead of just pouring it in?
Yeah, because the eggs will cook.
Okay.
So you're warming up the eggs.
Oh, okay.
So they won't cook.
See what I mean, everybody? She's got this cooking stuff down cold, like everything else. Very lucky to have her. Very blessed. Okay, now we're going to put this back in. We got it on low. Whoa. Okay, that's okay. And we pour it back in. We're going to... Whoa. I want to use that one. Okay, now trying to get the rest of this egg mixture back in too. Okay. Now this is let me read here while I whisk. So I've got the egg mixture back into the pan with the warm milk. I'm whisking continuously until it's thickened and is smooth and creamy. And then I'm going to remove it from the stove, add butter. You think I should melt this, or do you think I should just add it? I can't remember what I did last time.
What does the recipe say?
It doesn't say, it just says add butter. It'll probably melt.
If it's softened, it'll
Yeah.
probably just melt.
So we'll do that, and then we pour it out on this wax paper, or on this thing, and pour wax paper over it.
Put wax paper over it?
Yeah. And we might refrigerate it. Oh, you're putting the wax paper over it so it doesn't form a crust when it cools.
Like a skin.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, once we're done with this, we're about halfway through. The sugar, show them the sugar there, baby. The syrup, I've got all that ready. That's fairly easy to do.
Do you have to juice that lemon?
No, it says add the lemon skin in there.
The skin
just
or
for flavor.
zest?
No, it doesn't say zest. And I just did the skin last time. Add some flavor. Could try zest. But then the zest would be part of the syrup. I think they don't want that.
So you put the skin in and then you take it out?
Yeah, yeah. And the stick, yeah, and the cinnamon stick.
Mm.
And as everybody can see, we're keeping an eye on our dough. The dough's in here. It's been in 22 minutes.
Have you checked it?
Checked it once.
Is it browning?
Nah, can go a while.
How long does it say to cook that?
I believe 30 minutes, but I think last time I did about 40. Okay. You probably don't need to see me whisking this custard here. I don't know if they want to see me pouring it out on that thing or not. Maybe. Okay, so we got the custard all cooked up. I ended up transferring it to this dish right here. And we ended up using a mixer on it also to try to get it all smooth and creamy. We added butter after we took it off the stove. We added the right amount of butter. That's the final step with this. And we're going to add some wax paper on the top of it. So that it doesn't get a skin to form on it. And then I'm going to clean up the kitchen a little bit before we make the syrup. Okay. Okay, we got the dough out of the oven. We're letting it cool down. It's got too brown. Hope it didn't get too brown. I like it though. And then we do the syrup, which it says the syrup has a cinnamon stick, half a lemon peel in it, some water, and some sugar. It just says add all the ingredients, bring to a boil, simmer it for 3 minutes without stirring until slightly thickened, and then remove from the stove. Last time it took more than 3 minutes to thicken up. That's it, pretty simple. This stuff really tastes good. It really adds a lot to the recipe, because what you do is you pour it on top of this dough right here.
The dough looks a little dark on the bottom.
What? What looks dark on the bottom?
The dough.
I'll pick out the best part of it.
Did you tell me the last time you doubled the recipe of this syrup?
You know what? Did I? Alright. Okay, so I'm going to double it because it really was good. It really added a lot. You could taste it in every bite. This is the final of the 4 things that we got to make. This is going to be the whipping cream. And you start off with heavy whipping cream. Add a little bit of vanilla and powdered sugar. And this isn't powdered sugar. It's not regular sugar. It's powdered sugar. And it says to whip it for a couple of minutes. Last time it took me about 15 minutes. So nobody wants to see me whip this for 15 minutes. But it's amazing the way it turns into some really good whipped cream. The syrup is done over there. So once we get the whipped cream done, then we're just going to put it all together. So we'll show you how to do that. Okay, I'm done making the whipped cream. It took about 10 minutes. Now I'm going to assemble this. I'm going to grab some of this dough that we cooked.
First you buttered.
First I buttered the bottom of this. That's correct. What do you think?
A little more. Get into the corners then.
Now my syrup. Now we're making kind of a small one, so I'm not going to use all this. This is looks like quite a bit. I'll just pour it, I guess.
Yeah, just pour it. That's why we have those pans with the pouring spout.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You could use a ladle. Except your ladle is dirty. Get a ladle out of here.
Okay.
In the very back, there's a soup ladle.
Getting some help here. No, very good. I do want a lot of this on here because it really makes it taste good. So I'm just going to pour it on. And like I said, I made a double batch of this syrup. Oh, it smells so good. Smell it, baby.
Mmm. See, you are pouring.
Yeah, I know. And I'm using most of it. I was timing myself on how long I whipped that whipped cream. Okay, I think I got that in there good. Now comes the custard. Oh, there's another custard. Next time I might make a double batch of the custard. I think I might recommend to people to make a double batch of this. I want more custard, don't you?
No, I think it's fine. You're going to have whipped cream on top of that.
And some walnuts. The recipe calls for pistachios. I haven't been able to find pistachios at the store either time. So I'm just going to...
Really? Seems like pistachios are very popular. I would think they would be easy
Yeah,
to find.
didn't find them either time. How do you grade the kitchen cleanup?
So far it looks pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the sink is not so
Yeah.
clean, but the rest is pretty good.
And there it is. Ekmek Kataifi. It's a hard recipe. It's complicated. It tried my patience. I almost gave up. You didn't see all the behind the scenes stuff, my meltdown, but you know.
But you're done.
But I'm done. The only thing I would say is I might make up a double batch of custard next time so that you could fill it up even higher.
But it's done.
It's done.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Till next time.